welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about two horror films of modern day horror films, which are Ick and Weapons. Both of them have come out really like mid 2025. I mean, Ick's been playing the festival circuit for about a year, I think, before it came out, before it finally got a release, and now it's moved on to digital. Weapons was at a big release by Warner Brothers, and it's been a big success. So they're two films on different budget levels. Like Ick's very low budget, Weapons has a bigger budget. Both have been well received. I mean, Ick has had probably less good reviews than Weapons. Weapons has been better reviewed, but Ick did okay for what it is. It's like it's our old-fashioned monster movie, and it's done well for what it is. People understand exactly what the film is, and either you like it or you don't. But it's a certain type of genre film, and it's done well for that kind of film. So it's. So this is kind of the old-fashioned horror versus the supposed elevated horror of Weapons. And I prefer Ick. I'll get that out of the way straight away. I liked Ick better. I'll start with Ick actually because it was the first film released and Weapons came out after. Ick is a monster movie where the monster is in plain sight throughout the film and is completely ignored by everybody because everybody's lazy, which seems to be a great metaphor for our time. A bit forced, but it works when well in the film. So basically, it's the Ick starts to show up and just in the streets. It's just almost like weeds. It's almost like weaponized weeds in the film, but it's played with a tongue-in-cheek feel, a satirical feel. It's like, yeah, it's like people just can't get rid of the stuff. They just can't be bothered. It's like it's something that's like an apathy. It's weeds, but it's also apathy. People can't be bothered cleaning up the shit. So it starts out with Brandon Routh as an 18-year-old man who's in his 40s as an actor, but it's played up as like the idea was he was a sports star and he was meant to go far and his career hasn't gone well. He's a sports injury early on, which breaks his leg, and now he walks with a limp. He's got he was meant to marry this woman who was going to go far with him. She dumps him for another guy who he introduced her to in the first place. Once it shows that he's drinking too much and maybe not the best bet, and he's just a mess. So he gets injured, and 20 years pass where the Ick which started when he was young, has just been left here and people have ignored it completely. And at this point, he's now a high school teacher of science, and most of the kids don't care. So into his class is this girl who's the daughter of the woman he loved years ago, and she's smart, but she's demotivated completely by the state of the world, how the Ick has spread everywhere, no one gives a damn. Like, global warming is happening, everything's going wrong, and no one cares. And it's just a thing of the world is going to hell, and why should we bother? And essentially at this point, the Ick starts to become weaponized and attack people and cause the usual monster movie violence we get, which brings in the National Guard. And does that bring the people to actually give a damn? No. They still try and go on with their lives. The idea of a place being attacked is like, does that mean prom won't go ahead? And they actually reject all of the army's suggestions because that's a sign of the deep state, and they have the rights to ignore them. And the army people are like, what the hell? How dumb are these people? So Brendan Routh's character is only one of the few characters who are like, wait, this is a problem. And he's trying to help, and he's just been treated like crap by the soldiers who also think he's just a small-town rube. So even the people who are meant to protect humanity can be cynical dicks, basically, throughout the film. So we have that as a problem as well to deal with. So the film was just basically the escalation of this Ick. Even if it kills people and infects people, no one seems to care that much. And it's just this comedy of errors of human beings and how horrible they are. Now, the problem with the film actually is that it is a lower budget film, and sometimes you feel that there have been some scenes cut that would have had to run up to the horror or to the kind of comedy horror, make it a bit easier to face, because it seems like things happen and it's ignored, but sometimes the jokes don't land because it feels like something's been cut out. So there's this sense of the film should be like 10 minutes longer than it is. But there's still so much goodwill from the actors and from the just the characters that it doesn't really matter. Ultimately, it's like you can fill in the blanks, and it's just the whole idea of these people don't give a damn. No matter even if there was a world's end, and it's they're still not giving a damn. This is like a better version of Don't Look Up, which was that Adam McKay film from a few years ago, where it was like the meteor suggesting that nobody cares. That metaphor was too obvious in a way, and it was just too forced. This one, it's just much more like people are just lazy and they don't pay attention. It works better for just this silly sci-fi monster, which you can get into the idea of people being horrible and lazy, and even when the world is collapsing, they still look for an easy way out, and it just works as a fun little monster movie that knows when to have the monster movie stuff. And also because it's a lot of CGI, because they can't afford prosthetics a lot of the time because it's a low budget film. They shoot the CGI, they shoot the scenes for the CGI in a way that the cartoonish nature of the CGI is actually helpful for the film, because it's a cheap and nasty little sci-fi horror movie. It kind of reminds me of The Blob, the remake of The Blob, where in that film the effects were good, but it still had that cheesy, cheap feeling to the town and to the characterization. It's a B movie. This film's a B movie, so the fact that it acknowledges a B movie helps with the special effects, because they have a B movie feel to them, even though they're actually pretty good. Now, Joseph Kahn directed this. He directed Torque and a couple of films, so he's done a lot of music videos, and Torque was one of my least viewed videos ever. It was done a few weeks ago. No one watched it. It was a fun, ridiculous film. This one is a better film. It's got better performances. You understand. They're in a genre, but they understand the tongue-in-cheek nature of it. Brandon Routh's the only name you'll probably recognise. Mina Savuri is in it as well, but she's only in it for small bits, so you'll probably not recognise most other actors. The actress who plays the daughter, who might be Routh's daughter as well, but he's not quite sure it lines up if she's his daughter or just not. And so he's playing most of pretty safe, and everyone thinks it's a bit icky. Is he trying to be a pervert? It's a nice little subplot. It was a fun subplot to just watch him a bit awkward. All the actors are having fun. It's a really well done little genre film. Weapons, in our hand, is a decent film that has been praised to hell. Now, the problem, I did not like Barbarians either, which is Zach Cregger's first film as a director. He produced Companions, which I liked a lot more than Barbarians. I liked a lot more than this actually as well. This one's a weird one where the setup's good, and when they actually deal with the people, it's fine. It's just when they deal with the horror stuff that, to me, it goes off the rails. Which I'm in a minority about. Most people like this film. I'm the ones that are saying, I don't think it's quite as good as people say it is. The good thing about this and his other films is it doesn't actually have like characters who are fully sympathetic. They're all characters with problems. They're all characters are flawed, which is what I like most about the films. What I'm not so keen on is the structures and the way they use the horror elements. The horror elements are usually better when they're dealing with the characters' dysfunctions and why they're flawed. And this one especially strong on the flaws of the characters and how it goes from different perspectives. Like, it starts with one character, then goes to another character who's in conflict with, then goes to another character, and you get to see different perspectives of this situation where apart from one person, the whole class just disappears, like a primary school class, or young class, preteens, and they all disappear one night. Apart from there's one kid in the class, And it's like, what happened? Where did they go? And the problem with the solution is, didn't the police check this out properly? It's like, where were the police? That's the big problem with the solution is like, it relies on the police being absolutely piss poor at their jobs. It really does. It's like, eh? And it also relies on element that's supernatural that I don't think vibes with the early part, which is about what happened, the mystery of what happened. I think the explanation, I think, is very dissatisfying. Even though it leads to some fun, like, supernatural stuff in the second half, it doesn't feel connected to the first half for me. So it feels like there's two different films fighting each other, which to most people wasn't really a problem. They were fine with the first half leading to the second half, and that's the explanation. I just didn't buy the explanation. I just thought it was too flimsy for the mystery they set up. I thought they had a good mystery and they had a lot of potential there, and when you got the solution, it was like, that's the solution. So that was a big thing. There's also the fact that I think the film is half an hour too long. It's like it's setting stuff up, and then at a certain point, it's meandering and you can find the same information again from a different angle, but it's like I'm not getting anything new here, and I'm feeling like it's film settled down to kind of a much a lower level, and basically after the first like two characters you have with Julia Garner and Josh Brolin, after those two characters are focused on, those two are the strongest ones, you go to Eldenbrecht, who's a good actor, but his character stuff's being dealt with in the Julia Garner stuff. You see a little bit more, and the stuff there is interesting, but it feels from a different film, and that kind of is a disconnect. Then he has to deal with this drug addict, which also connects to the story, but it feels lesser and lesser, and it just feels like you're stretching this out in a way that I don't think is actually, for me, was not that enjoyable. It just felt like I wasn't getting to the point, and it was like it wasn't suspenseful at all. It was just like things are happening. You get back to the point, and then we got to the point. It was like that's your big explanation. It's not that good. So that film where the first 40 minutes was really good, and then the rest was diminishing returns. Even though Amy Madigan shows up halfway through the film, and she's great, and there's some nice horror scenes in it, but it's still, to me, it just has this thing of it doesn't really match up to the central idea. It just feels like it's not quite there. So even though the performances are good, it's well shot, it just feels flabby, it just feels unfocused. But I'm in the minority here. It's like, even people didn't like Barbarians seem to like this one, and I'm like, still. And the thing is, both these films, Barbarians and this one, I wanted to like the films. It wasn't like I was going to be cynical, but it's just like, as I was watching the film, because they were going on a long time, I could start looking, going, why didn't you just do this? Why didn't you just do that? And there's a whole point early on when you get an early point of when the police investigated. There were some things that should have been a red flag to the police early on, and it wasn't, and it was like, and it is not quite explained well enough for why it wasn't a red flag for the police, and it just feels, and there's little bits that happen throughout. It's like that's the kind of thing that should be reported, and it isn't, just so the plot can happen, and it just keeps happening, and for me, it was like suspension of disbelief was ruined, but for most people it wasn't. It was just a creepy little movie. It's that kind of thing where it just didn't work for me. But if you liked it, good. It just didn't do it for me. So it's that kind of film where, that's the problem with horror films, is some films will get you and some films just won't, and you'll be like, I don't get why they're all so horrified by this. This is horror. It's the same with comedies. Some comedies you'll really like, and other comedies you'll be like, I don't get it. It's just life. It's just one of those things. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. These are two recent films. I was trying not to go into like uber detail on them because they're so new, but they're both worth seeing. I just give you what ones I like better, but they're both. I mean, X a lot more obviously flawed because of his budget limitations. But I thought ultimately, if you looked through those flaws, it was a more interesting film than Weapons. But you're free to make up your own mind. So that's me for now. I hope you enjoyed the video. Bye.